Hi folks, welcome. I hope you're doing good. I just want to come on and talk about some of the things that are going on, but I also am closing out the day on the stock market. We are also going to address, we're on this camera, right? Yes. Good, then I can move this one out of the way, and that's a good thing. So welcome to the program, and I have to finish out some stuff with the stocks. I want to talk to you guys about what's going on in Afghanistan and this situation. It's so messed up and it's so un-American. So I don't like the way that's turning out for people who matter and they have purpose and value, and this is their outcome. They trusted us, and that was totally bad of Biden. He totally dropped that. He was being like this bravado-driven, ego-driven jerk who thought he was going to get in there and show how it's done, and turned out throwing the place over, and now people and lives are going to have to pay the price for that. It's not right. So for that, Biden's a jerk. He deserves to, pay the price on that one. This is his fault. And that's not, he says he was burdened by the Trump deal previous to that, but that's not true. He was changing everything else, and he could have changed that as well. We all know that. And when he decided that pulling out 2,500 troops was worth putting 3,000 Americans in danger, and actually 11,000, there's still 11,000 Americans there in danger, and it's so sad. But another 80,000 Afghans who also helped America, that now we have to get out of there, that their lives are at stake. And this is the same thing that's happening on the southern border, and I'm concerned about that for people. I'm concerned about for America, and I just don't know what it would be like to be one of those scared girls that are going to have to start covering themselves up, and they're older and they've been used to living life that way. That's a sad thing to think about. Come tomorrow on the market channel, I will not be having all the channels on that one. It's just going to be the market channels only. So I wanted to update you on that. I'm also going to cover some American Mantic stuff here after the market closes. I'll just close out with some stuff because I missed the show yesterday. So I want to make up for that. I'm pretty committed to that effort, and it means a lot to me, so I don't want to miss out on that. And just kind of relax, sitting back and taking a different view today, and talking about those things that I would have talked about yesterday after the market closed. So let's get on to the market. I'm just going to go ahead and light that up real quick here. And this is Moderna for the day. It's down $21.30. It's been getting repeated attacks. You can see here it's keeping its value as so far as the strike price is concerned, but I don't think that's enough. I think we need to really push higher if we're going to have this thing break 400, which I do think that it's got a lot of hope to do that, because we've been getting, if you look here, a lot of these short attacks, like right here. You see all around it, it's all lower volume, and then you see it gets higher volume, and it kind of led into this, and you'll see a lot of those. But I also do believe that we only have another 17 minutes to the market today. Today has been an off day in the market. Not that particularly well for bears, not that, and even less particularly well for bulls. Bears had an okay day if they had bought at different points, but the way today was, it's kind of like a bear in a bull trap all day, because it had bulls selling their puts and bragging about selling their puts, like, whoops, yeah, right in this area, and then, turns around as it starts coming up that, they lost money on that and they sold at the top, and then they don't believe it's coming down. By the time it comes down, it's coming back up again. So it's been just as much of a bear trap as it has been a bull trap. And so Moderna, and the reason why it has this weird pattern like this where both sides are getting clobbered, is because we have a lot of these short attacks. And a short attack is when a short seller comes into a stock that's otherwise trading fine and sets it off, by attacking it and then setting it on, on a lower trajectory. Now, Moderna, because of these repeated attacks, it has, I want to say, about 34%. We could check it right now, but let's just check it. And that's what I like doing. The short interest. This is Vortex, but we're going to go back and actually look and see if there's any other easier ways to see it, because I don't know how to read that Vortex one. Yeah, see the short interest right here? And it, this is for the 17th of May. It's pretty far away. I'm going to step back on that one. I don't like looking at that. I want to see for right now. Yeah. Let's see if we can look at this one. Okay, there it is. Shares on short, 13.6 million shares. And the float on Moderna is 343 million. The short percentage of float is 5.48%. We have a short ratio of 0.97. And so I know that when you look at the latest here, it gives you the percentage versus prior month, and these are relatively recent, and so you could see in comparison it also has previous short volume 13.6 and current short volume is 18.8, and those are millions. And then a change from prior month is being an additional, like I said earlier, I said 35%, sorry, 37%. And the dollar volume sold offshore was 6.65 billion. So this is an increased short position in the companies of technological achievement that'll help us help resolve a lot of the issues that we're dealing with in life. And yet our these places, and I just updated it, they're shorting our country out. They're shorting our progress right out. And so, my hope is I want to see us grow. I want to see us solve issues like people taken care of. I don't think I'm alone in that. Maybe I am. Nah, I can't imagine it. I see that a lot of people would want to have that good change, that they would like to have a better world. And I don't know what in God's name made it so difficult to make love and progress in this world happen for people, that we're not putting the children first. We think it's more important to create a greedy environment than it is a loving environment, And I think about people and their tolerance for that loving message, and it's not really well developed. like they're still in their like reptilian brain, you know? They're still in their like gorilla wanting to fight brain. And what happens is we end up with a world that we currently have where people are just constantly out to hurt each other. And that's the world I fight against, and do my best to make a better world, because and we're going down now. Let's see where this thing is headed to. 375. Now this is a short attack. If you take a look at this and you zoom in, this right here began right on a short attack. It's just pushing for all it can. It wants to try and push it below 375 for the close. You know what? I'm going to hang on through this. I believe in it. I think that come tomorrow, this thing could really take off and, make back a lot of that lost progress. And the reason why I think that is if you go back to the month calendar here, and I'm serious here. Now you can look at this and you'll see these Fridays. See, it tells you what day it is. We're coming up on a Friday now. And you come back to this Friday, just this very last Friday. Let's go back. We got to go back to this Friday, right? We closed at 389. And right before that, it was the Thursday prior. That was 391, so that was down a little bit for that close. And then if you look at that Wednesday, it was 385. If you look at that Tuesday, it was 456. If you look at that Monday, it was 484. So the reason why that entire week was a generally down week, we actually made money on that week. And the only places we fell was on these Fridays as of recent, because we believed that they would be much more like this Friday, where it went up. You see it gained from 45 to 53. And then, hold on. That Friday was ugly, right? Ugly Friday. Now we had an ugly Thursday. See, this is an ugly Friday. Right here. It's not that ugly actually, but it's not making money. So those two Fridays aren't the best. And then if we go into this Friday, Thursday to Friday, now you're seeing a big push, 25 up, right? And now what level is that? Look at the level. That's 323 to 348. See that? So that's a nice push, and that's the first time it went there. Now, let's back up a little bit. We'll remember that. That was 723. Now look at where we are. 723 on the left side of your screen. And on the right side of your screen, you have where we currently are now, 375. So that's 723. We're at 358 right there. Okay, 348. Now we, from 348 to where we are now, 375, in that time is only about a 27-point difference. Since then, Moderna has experienced so many qualifying, value-adding benefits. This stock should be, just from that time, due for an increase. I thought that increase would be by now, but instead, we're even more pinched for an increase. And I know why we're being knocked down. It is a short attack. This is not natural. And bulls have a lot of energy in Moderna, especially when it gets down to its bare brass. It has a lot of energy. And so, over here, at the ending part here, if it closes in the next 8 minutes, and around right where it's at, I suspect the after hours are going to range in this level. It might even go down further, say 365. Great, whatever. So it ranges further, right? And then come tomorrow in the open, I think we're going to have a Friday that's most similar to on 7/16, where these Fridays were like this. This is how these Fridays typically work, where it went up 26 points on Friday, or 7/23, where it went up another 25 points again on a Friday. Now, the last 2 Fridays were negative. It's much more likely that the next Friday will be positive. There's a lot of these trends that exist in the market, by the way, and it's helpful to find them, because if you do find them and can capitalize on them, they've actually worked for us. And I was teeter-tottering on this whole thing because I didn't really want to, but my heart ended up going into it. And so it's on me. I feel like love is, a force, and I talk about it all the time, and that I use it to gauge the world a lot as well. And I believe that it could have been better. And so, because I'm looking at metrics in that environment, I'm seeing the value in Moderna. I'm seeing what it's capable of doing for our people and for the world. And so even though today it turned out to be a real whacking, I think tomorrow could deliver, and the other thing is we had 2 red days in a row, and we had 1 green day before that, and before that we had another 5 days red in a row. Those were a lot of reds, and that's a lot of short attacks. And now if you look at where Moderna stands as so far as how much shorts have invested in Moderna, well, you already know, we just read it. It's 13.5 million shorts. I mean, those are each one's a share. And so that's a lot of investment in shorting Moderna. In fact, we read the amount. It was over $6 billion shorted in Moderna. And I just question how recent some of those. I just wish that information was a lot more forthright for people. This whole world is, especially the way we're doing it, it's a little bit backwards for people. I think you already know that. Assuming you know that, that we need. That's how I talk a lot. Assuming that you know that. All right, so so I guess by tomorrow, if we're not going to pull 470 out of tomorrow, but I think that if we get a good go, I think we can pull right back to this line. When we pull back and we look at this whole picture, I could see us going to 420, because this whole thing is what's happening is there's a war as to what the value of Moderna is, but then it's been perverted by an additional force, which is the short attack, fighting against the value of what Moderna is. And so that's why we're seeing this play out the way it has. And comments here, they lose their ability to be decent at all. When they think they're winning, they're happy, and this is what they do. It's really unfortunate, because when they're losing, they hide so quick. They're not even they're not even winning big to me, because I know how it is on these days, and especially I know how they are. If you go to the 1-day chart here, this is like bear trap after bear trap. There's like 3 bear traps in a row right there, and they probably fell for all 3 and lost money. I could see the bears losing money on today, despite what turned out. I could see that because of how they react in fear and greed. And so it's been tough on bulls, and we definitely had a down thing going, but don't you dare for a moment not think that we've been being attacked by these shorts. We have been, and that's a fake force that can't last. Let's pull back on the 5-day. Let's see what's been happening. Now, you've seen over here, it jolted up. That's not being helped by bulls. That's the opening market, and it jolted up with power, and it's running. and then it started setting back a bit, and then started running again. And and I was thinking around that time, because I was a bit hesitant, but then that showed me, wow, that was very strong. That even shocked me a bit, because before that we were sitting at 366, and I was thinking, well, if that's the way it's going, then maybe we should look for the next week to be down. And then it turned around and did that, and now we're basically just above that 366 level now, and they're trying to knock us down, right? But actually, there's all this energy that wants to come up, and it's worth more than what the current price is. And if you go into analysis, even some of those people agree it's worth 463. So, and of course, the analysts always get it wrong, often. We know that. And Moderna is a very forward-thinking company, so it deserves to make some progress and make people behind it some money with it. And then, of course, the pattern day trade rule hurts all investors, not just investors of Moderna. And, of course, shorting hurts all investors. I think shorting needs to be outlawed. I can't believe it's not already. I don't think people understand it well enough. So that's it. 4 o'clock is here, baby. Boom chakalala. We're going to take this straight into tomorrow and hope for the best. And if not, we'll have to just continue doing life, because guess what? I live pretty cheap as it is, and I always work for a better world. And, for me, it's all about the effort I can do for God, and every ounce of extra that I get, every ability that I can make, which, this is a side swipe to what I'm trying to accomplish, because, of course, it's, I'm out to achieve the ability to make up after my bus. Literally, Happy Force 1 burned down a year ago, don't you know? Happy Force 1 burned down a year ago, and we are still now picking up the pieces from that then. And I'll show you. We'll go to, I got some of that stuff on YouTube, so we'll just go straight to YouTube. Show you. We'll go to the videos, and we'll go to, I thought there was one that had anyways, it should be, if I go far, let's see, they start adding up when you do them, but look at this, and you could just see this. This is Happy Force 1, my previous one, and there it is, burning down, and I had, $80,000 into that thing. And there it is. I did so much work. It was a nice home, and now I have to build up a new one. And so that's why I'm in the market. That's why I'm in options. I wouldn't be doing options if it wasn't for the fact that I'm trying to make money fast. And so when it goes backwards, it's taking away from that dream. It's taking away from that effort. And, it does bother me when you see devils, they're squealing and they're so happy about the damage they do to companies and people. I don't operate like that. I couldn't ever operate like that. That's why when I talk about the various ways you can make money when it comes to the stock market, people make money in ways that, help build our world. I mean, I don't want to put anybody's stuff on and then have that hurt the account further or anything like that. But yeah, I mean, this was all made. I used to do videos from Happy Force 1 before it burned down. Did a lot of work on Happy Force 1. And, I've been so committed to this for so long. This is when I was working I went to go see Mayor Demings. I mean, how much does one HappyHealer Lover heart have to go forth before making change? And the thing about it is, this is all effort, man. This is non-stop effort. And I don't know why, people that play video games, they get 18,000 views. But when you're doing something that is so important and you stay committed to it, because honestly, nobody's doing this work, and it's the only thing that's going to save us. So, I mean, I guess it makes sense that God's work would be crapped on in greed hell. It definitely makes sense to me. But I don't want to accept it. I'm going to do my best to make a difference and change that, because I think we can. And I don't, quite frankly, want to live in a world that's about, hurting people and making it about, lies should persist over heart and care, and that, people don't have a way to survive, and that's just fine, and that just let them, fall out of existence. I mean, have a heart, right? Or because the world we want to live in is the world we're going to get, because that's the one we make, and it's what we have, so we have to discuss that. And on American Mantics this evening, it's a bit of a laid back tone. Last night I missed it, and I'm just going to transition right into American Mantics here, but that's sort of what the plan was, and I have been, basically. Time now is 4:04. And I was quite frankly thinking it might be smart to come on board and talk about things more often through the day and what we're dealing with, even on something that would be cross-channel variable in the sense that it would be good with all the channels. We have a lot of news articles on here that I could speak to. That's one thing. Sometimes I struggle with let's see what this guy's talking about. Oh yeah, 420, of course. And that's it. Just got to survive that short attack, and I think that tomorrow can bring in 420. I think it could even do higher. Of course, it could also spell disaster. I mean, I'm just like anybody else here, hoping for the best. We've got a lot of good people. I love you guys. And you see yourselves right there. I don't always share that stuff. I should probably. But I want to talk about married life, finances, just like you have here, passions, and this is also important, the passions we're having in the real life world, right? Like, I'm 42, and I'm going to bring this a little closer because I don't really feel like yelling today, but I do feel like you hearing me, and so I think that'll be nice. Just to have that world that's better. I mean, right? My legs. Let's go. We can get rid of that and get back onto So that better life, I know that when you're married, you're not having the best experiences. Please hear me out. So many people have a hard time, even taking an extra second out of a day to hear the truth, to hear what matters. And I'm going to make my picture bigger on this because I think for my situation, it's just the best. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Sometimes it's harder than, it's more difficult than it is worth the effort, Sometimes it's more difficult, and the effort requires for so much to stay, focused on what matters. And I could just as easily apply myself towards, the greedy world. And I have is really bad in that. Oh, looks like we're running out of internet here. If that's the case, we'll go ahead and shut things down. Okay, we're coming back. It might go away. I don't know if it's going to go away or not. I think we're barely hanging on here by a thread. Okay, we're back. So we'll see. We're looking at it now, trying to determine if we're going to be able to keep a signal or not, and if the program will be able to continue. Okay, it looks like we're doing okay now. So that's good. I thought we were going to get knocked off online, and then I was going to get cut short. Happens a lot. I hope we're good. See me? Can you hear me? Do you love me? I love you. I notice when I'm looking this way, I probably need a little bit more lighting. But, yeah. I don't know, maybe I can make some lighting here. We need some lighting. Lighting to the rescue, please. We need some lighting. Okay. How's that lighting? Better? I think so. Yeah. We could do that too. A little bit more lighting there. Yep, that's better. Okay. I think this would be better like this. I'm doing one more thing. Doing everything we can to make it better for you. How about that? Oh, beautiful. Okay. Why is being a person gotta be so hard sometimes? I wish it was easier. I do. Not because of laziness, but because it gives people more chances to do stuff. And I like to do stuff. And we all like to do stuff. And that's what I want to see, is people being able to do stuff, but it's really hard on people. So you see, I'm just looking at and I can get rid of that little thing there. I'm just looking at, people are liking Money Mantics here. And I had to come on, I guess that's not the most flattering picture of me, but it's okay. It's just what it is, I suppose. This was today, a couple hours ago. So that's that. What's this one? No, we don't want to do that. Yep. Hello, hello. Somebody else said hello? Oh, okay. Yep. Hello, hello. So we'll just see what's going on. How's our signal? Okay. Good. And, yeah, those video games. I mean, look at this. We talk about the things that are absolutely essential to your life. We're covering marriage today. We're covering things in the financial world. And yet, if you just go, where was that? Here? No? Here? Okay. I lost it, but there was the stupid video games, man. Like when I came back, where'd it go? It bothers me, but... Oh, there it was. Did you see it for a moment? And now you can see I'm jumping in some of the channels it's taking me to. But look at this nonsense, It's got all these likes and everything. And it's just a silly video game, just running around like that. There's 1.7K people watching this now. I mean, how are we going to solve our problems like that, guys? Sean Hannity. Trump slams Biden. humiliating withdrawal from Afghanistan. I agree. I mean, that's an awful turnout, what happened there, man. That I just don't like the way that turned out, to be honest. It could have been a lot better. And a lot of people know it. They know it. They don't want to admit of it. I mean, actually, I would say that a lot of people on the left are admitting it. I don't think they have much of a choice but to admit it. It's so large, you can't ignore it. But typically speaking, what people are doing these days are ignoring problems, and then they become larger because of politics. But in this case, it goes to distance. I'd like to see what Trump said if I could play that, maybe I will. But I get in trouble when I play these things, and then they take my videos out. So I'll rather read an article to you. We'll find an article and we'll read an article. That's the way we'll do it. But yeah, they should give us more freedom in general on the internet and everywhere we go. So we'll go ahead and read an article about Trump once we get to it. But let's go ahead and get to that now. Come over here. Let's see. Facebook's usually trying to hide this stuff. Let's see if it's Trump on Afghanistan. It's a hell of a word. So here it says, opinion: Trump and company engineered the pullout from Afghanistan. Now they criticize it. So they're trying to turn it on its head. It's good to know what they're saying, because there's a lot of lies actually being reported. People are always making it about politics. And here it is again. Somehow this is Trump's fault, even though Biden is the president. You know what? He reversed a lot of things that Trump did. Although when it came to this, it was about being that hostile, pullout. You knew what was going to happen. And even knowing the result in advance, you still do it. And now you want to pass the buck off to somebody else. I'm sorry, I don't think that's the way it works. I think you're supposed to own up to that. You're failing, and it's unfortunate. And I would honestly prefer to have President Trump in office. I'd have cheaper gas in my car. And trust me, I want cheaper gas. Because, look, it's running right now. After today, I definitely need cheaper gas. You know what I mean? So this is the way they run it. If the way you're going to run it in greed hell, do it like Trump, please. Because Trump is going to bring us the best options, and that's why I voted for him. Because we're going to get the best deal out of that. But if you're talking about having higher living, getting over racism, see, that's not what the Democratic Party is doing. They're not getting over racism. They're making it worse. It's more about revengeism. And, so if they're not to get too far out, but just Trump would be everything you need in a president. If it's just about, if we're not looking higher than politics. If we want to look higher than politics, like where God is, and we really want to go far, then, the answer there is, you want to work with God, which is love and truth, or do you want to work with greed, which is the devil and hate and hell, and is a lot of what we got now? And that's really a deep one, and I think that's where it goes. So if you're just looking at it on the level of politics and where it is, first off, I would never run there. I'm a complete Trump supporter right there, and that's who I voted for. But if you're looking at the above level, from what, politics is on one level, right? And then the next level up, then you would have like God and your like the really big questions. If like we collectively talked about those questions that level up from politics, then, and the choices there are stark, they're very clear. It's either love, or it's, and that's God, or it's greed, and love is sharing and making it work together. It's unity, it's a group working together. Or it's greed, which is selfishness. It's going it alone. It's less love. It's taking advantage when you can. Hey, why not? It's everything that you wouldn't want, really. And so right now, that's the one we're under. And in that world, I'll take Trump any day because we need a fighter to survive. But come on, shouldn't we be getting a better world? Man, we need the better world. All right, so Biden here, I would have sought Afghanistan withdrawal even without Trump's Taliban deal. So that settles it. There you go. Let's read this. All right, so President Joe Biden revealed in a new interview that he still would have sought to pull out American forces out of Afghanistan, even if former President Donald Trump had not struck a deal with the Taliban last year that paved the way for the eventual U.S. troop withdrawal. I would have tried to figure out how to withdraw those troops, yes, Biden said to ABC News' George Stephanopoulos, who's just a creep, in an interview conducted Wednesday. Segments of the interview aired Wednesday on ABC's World News Tonight and Thursday on Good Morning America. The president's acknowledgement comes after he and the top aides have argued the White House hands were tied by the Trump-era agreement brokered last February in Qatar, saying that it forced Biden to follow through on a full-scale Afghanistan withdrawal in his opening months in office. Now, looking at that, says what you need to know right there, that he decided to take a different way. He seems like he's trying to say, I would have done it anyway. Okay, so he wasn't trying to change it. Then why did you say that to start with? And I think becomes the question, right? Like, that's an honest question. Why would you say that to start with? And I think he said it to start with so that he could avoid any criticism and that he could put it on Trump. It worked for everything else. All he needs to do is please half the country. These guys are only president to half the country at this point because the other half is in their la-la land not listening. So, and he failed to even please his own half on this one. So let's go on. The Doha Agreement called for the gradual drawdown of U.S. troops in Afghanistan, with the total withdrawal set to be completed by May 1st of this year. One of the deal's conditions was that the Taliban would halt attacks on American and coalition forces in the meantime. But Biden has repeatedly said that maintaining a U.S. troop presence in Afghanistan beyond the agreement's May 1st deadline would have necessitated the deployment of additional American forces to stave off inevitable conflict with the Taliban. Less than 2 months after I was elected wait a second, back up. So you mean to tell me he realized with the current troop levels that in order to keep progress at that level, he would have had to add additional troops, and so he took them away? It sounds like to me he knew what was going to happen and he did it anyway. That's what it sounds like. And I think that's what the reports are saying too. Let's carry on. Less than 2 months after I was elected to office, I was sworn in. All of a sudden, I have a May 1st deadline. I have a May 1st deadline. He said it twice. Biden told ABC, I have one of two choices. Do I say we're staying? And do you think we would not have to put a hell of a lot more troops in Afghanistan? Biden put forth the same line of reasoning in the White House address Monday defending his decision in Afghanistan. The choice I had to make as your president was either to follow through on that agreement or be prepared to go back to fighting the Taliban in the middle of the spring fighting season, he said. But Biden's latest statement that he would have pursued a pullout of U.S. troops regardless of Trump's negotiations with the Taliban complicit the current administration's argument for its own withdrawal order. Okay, let's read along. Biden has come under the intense scrutiny for the execution of American departure from Afghanistan. Bipartisan criticism has ramped up significantly over the past several days amid scenes of chaos at the international airport in Kabul, as both Democrats and Republicans contend the administration was unprepared to safely evacuate American citizens and Afghan allies out of the country, which is now under Taliban control. There's an additional price to this. You know what that is? The additional price is having 70, 80,000 Afghans leave their own home country and come to America. So that's going to have a cost too, and a big cost. They're not coming with riches, so they're going to need a lot of help just to get by here and to live an American lifestyle. It's going to be an adjustment, and it's going to cost a lot of money for Americans to cover that. So whether you kept the presence that gave the Iraqi military additional air support, which I heard would have given them the ability to stave off further attacks and to beat them, in fact, or to, I don't know what the thing was. I guess we completely left them in the dark, like we just forgot about them totally. And we thought we would be out in time before the Taliban actually... Remember, that was in May. We're in... it's only June and July now. A little bit into August, Now we'll be into September, August. Time's moving fast. But, it's only 2.5 months, 2.5 months. And they made it all the way to Kabul. And now the Americans, us, we're trying to get out of there. They're taking pot shots at our aircraft. And it's impossible to get the people out that we are supposed to be protecting, including 11,000 Americans that are surrounded in this airport and being shot at. And, the planes themselves, if you get into the air, those are being shot at. And so let's read along. Biden and administration officials conceded this week that they were surprised by the speed of the Taliban's rapid offensive across Afghanistan, which culminated in the toppling of its capital city and the collapse of the Western-backed Afghan government. Now let's talk about that. They should have had a more orderly withdrawal if that was their intention. They should have been careful about that, and they were not. Now we have people there that can die. And further, people that can't make it to the airport. They have no safe passageway through the streets. The Taliban are now running the streets, and they don't run them the way the previous government did. They have checkpoints and people standing there with guns. It's lawlessness. But Biden asserted to ABC that there would be no scenario in which an American withdrawal from Afghanistan would not have resulted in significant disorder after 2 decades of a U.S. troop presence there. No, I don't think I could have been handed in a way that we're going to go back in hindsight and look. But the idea that somehow there's a way to have gotten out without chaos ensuing. I don't know how that happens, Biden said. Well, I think that what they had was a lot better than the chaos they have now. Why didn't you just try and keep that? Because guess what? They're going to only become the same problem they were when I was a young man. Get it? I'm 42 years old now. You go back 19 years ago, and going back is going to be reminding us of a lot of the problems then. Jihadists, their area for a breeding ground becoming stronger. That's exactly what we're dealing with. It was the Bush era. How does President Bush feel that his war ended like this? This is an American joint adventure. The Congress, everybody were involved in this thing. This is not, even if you were against it to start with, this is not the way to end it. Biden has really made us look bad too. You figure, you figure that You've got people falling off of planes. You've got these iconic images now that people will never get out of their minds about the Afghan war coming to a close and what that looks like, with the Taliban pot shooting at our planes and Afghans falling down 2,000 feet to their death. I can't think of a worse way. Put that image next to the burning 9/11 buildings. I cannot think of a worse way to have closed this out after 20 years. And the psychological effect that will have on Americans that are already struggling in a soft civil war that never seems to come to an end. So this to me is just more of the same. We're in a very fast struggle down to the bottom. And I like doing this. Maybe this is how we'll do it. We'll read the articles and I'll let you know how I feel about what's going on. I like the way that feels for me. No, I don't think it could have been handled in that way. We're going to go back in hindsight. Nope, we're got to get to the next one. I guess that's where it ends. And that's it. They get to just have that to say. So let's see what the other article says. Withdrawing from and now that was 1 hour ago. So this goes on Wednesday. This is 2 hours ago. Let's read the Washington Post. Or was it? Yeah. Opinion: Trump and company engineered the pullout from Afghanistan. Now they criticize it. So this is a hit piece, I guess. And that's what they do. This is how they shape opinion, too. The Biden administration, as I've argued, deserves plenty of blame for its precipitous attack, and ill-planned exit from Afghanistan. Naturally, a sense of decency and consistency has not prevented a former President Donald Trump. See, this is... and his minions. Yeah, see, that's not neutral talk. And this is exactly how they have treated this conversation without respect for the conversation itself. And so how can people be focused on a solution when that's how you're entering the conversation? It's designed to incite, my friends, and it does incite. It's designed to tear people apart. It's sad to me. This is not the world I bargained to live in. I'm a lover. I just want a better outcome for our country. So, and his minions from adding their voices to the chorus of criticism, even though they themselves designed this exit strategy and lauded it until last moment. Give me a break. We are now being treated to the contemptible spectacle of people who sent the airplane into a nosedive, complaining about the resulting crash. Are you talking about 9/11? Ha! Yeah, see? Be careful with your language, because there's a connection between the two. And sometimes I think you forget it. As of recently, as of April 18th, Trump said, "Getting out of Afghanistan is a wonderful and positive thing to do. I plan to withdraw on May 1st, and we should keep it as close to that schedule as possible." On June 26th, he bragged, "I started the process. All the troops are coming back home. They couldn't stop the process. 21 years is enough, don't we think?" Okay, now there's that, but then on the other side of that, he had a plan for it. He wasn't, and also he was feared. President Biden isn't feared at all, and in the world of greed hell, if you don't have fear, you are weak. Because, you've got to have that fear that they think you're going to follow through. And I think that's important because, you get a weakling in there, then we are all the ones paying the price. And we pay the price in higher gas prices. He's practically begging OPEC for gas to bring these gas prices down. I mean, what in the hell are these guys doing? They shut down the pipeline that we had going beforehand. I mean, all of these little things, like, folks, come on, man. Real people need to survive. And this is the problem that I have with Biden administration. If it's about fixing problems, then why are they making it political and causing so many more? And, Trump was a lot more honest in that way, and he spoke from his heart. And so that, I think, people really respect. There's a strong drive for Trump in that way. But you are so used to people just speaking and doing wrong. Like, I mean, they call Trump every name in the book, and all it does is say, wait a second, why are you talking about him? And, there's all these problems. They call Trump every name in the book, and they sit there and have their own problems to consider, and that's what they're trying to pull the word away from. And I don't care about blaming somebody else who would have done it totally different. They wouldn't have done it the way it was done here. Trump was crazy about doing things the smart way, right? And he was. And he would actually make sure there wouldn't be all that military equipment going to the enemy. That's certain. He would have made certain of that. These little things. And I'm far from saying, oh, well, I'm a Trumpist. No. I am a lover, and I want a better world. But in what we have, if this is where it's going, folks, Biden's the president right now, and he's messing things up. We can't deny that. I love you guys. I hope you're doing great. And I hope you enjoy this. Now he is calling the situation not acceptable and saying that the troop withdrawals should have been condition-based. No, that he's pretty much been consistent with. I think what he has always said is that he would not leave weapons to the enemy. He said that in the past. He would be smart in a way. He wouldn't give dates and things like that, that unless, of course, in this case, it was given in an agreement, but he would have followed through with the agreement. There was some nuance there that's not being looked at, but yep, and they shouldn't have either way had it like it was done here. I think Trump would have sent more troops in, no problem. Send another 5,000, nobody would balk at that. And they didn't send any more troops, so the way it was done horribly. And certainly, I don't see why they wouldn't have continued. If you're going to leave all kinds of military equipment there, that's a big investment. And why wouldn't you leave also the ability to get air support or whatever support they needed for that army? I guess the army was sort of fake too. They didn't have as much heart as the Taliban. That shows that there's, the difference between victory and failure is, how many lazy hearts there are looking for that victory. And so they couldn't necessarily change the hearts of those people. And that makes sense. And you know who said that to start with? Ron Paul. He said that. And a lot of other people said it too. And you know what? That was a mistake that now we're paying for. President Bush always said history will judge him. Yep, in Pence alternative universe. Oh, geez, come on, we're enough with that already. I don't like reading, hit pieces. All right, I just want some honest take on the situation. I'm much better with that. Then I could put my opinion in it. Withdrawing from Afghanistan may be the one thing Biden and Trump agree on. That's one way of seeing it, right? Time now is 4:37, so we'll keep this going for a little bit longer, and then we'll shut it down. Let's see what news we're finding on the home pages for America and then the world. So why analyst predicts Moderna stock will plunge nearly 70%. Oh, so this is a hit piece. They might have found my little channel because I talk about that all the time. So they don't quote me because I guess I'm not well enough known, so they'll just say some. Some have taken to calling Moderna NASDAQ Moderna. I'm the only one with a channel on Moderna. the Tesla of biotech. And that's exactly what I said. What do you know? Both stocks have skyrocketed. What? There's some Moderna, NASDAQ. What other stock? Despite its detractors, Tesla has managed to hold on to most of its gains that it has generated over the last couple of years. Can Moderna do the same? Not everyone believes it can. Here's why one analyst predicts that Moderna stock will plunge nearly 70%. Let me read it because I know a lot about Moderna. Let's see what they're saying. Ridiculous and impossible. Bank of America analyst Jeff Meckham wrote to investors earlier this month that Moderna valuation has gone from unreasonable to ridiculous. The day before Meckham's note, the vaccine stock hit a market cap of over $195 billion and crunched some numbers about what it would take for Moderna to deserve that kind of valuation. Based on his analysis, the company would need to sell at least 1.5 billion doses of its COVID-19 vaccine every year for the next 17 years. They're going to have other products too. It's not just that one for the next 17 years. See, those are the kinds of lies that they say, and I don't like that. Also, every candidate in Moderna's pipeline would need to be successful and rack up combined peak sales of 30 billion. That's not true. These guys are, in the next 17 years, do you know how much this world's going to change? By then, if these greed hell bastards haven't destroyed the world, it's going to change a lot. And, inflation alone will have it brought up. Did he count that in? Did he count that in for the next 17 years? What an idiot. These guys are such liars. They have an agenda. All right, so let's go on. These assumptions are, in our view, impossible to justify. However, Moderna's share price has fallen since then, with Meckham's note helping to knock the stock off its lofty perch. Oh, get out of here. I really know how big of a lie these guys are, and I'm not going to listen to that. Even after the decline over the last few days, though Moderna's market cap is still hovering around $150 billion. Meckham thinks that the stock could fall nearly 70% to $115 per share and the market cap in the ballpark of $46 billion. What's Moderna really worth? And you see, you know what they use as an attack? Moderna was doing just fine on its own. And they say, oh, well, the mean people. The mean people never came around until the shorts did. We need to get rid of those shorts, man. You know, there's no reason to have short sells in the market. Not one valid enough for the damage they do. Moderna experts rake in around $20 billion from its Moderna expects to rake in around $20 billion from its COVID-19 vaccine this year alone. If it could count on that level of revenue every year, the company's current valuation wouldn't be nearly as worrisome. Actually, do they think that COVID is going away? How foolish can that be? COVID started out as one little minuscule thing, and now it's everywhere. You think they're going to wipe it away like that? I mean, come on. Grow up. My goodness. The problem is that it's not likely that Moderna will make that much recurring revenue after next year. Analysts project that sales in 2023 from the company's COVID vaccine will probably be around $7.6 billion, while that estimate could prove to be too low. And you know what? They say what's currently in the works and what already is. But they're not talking about what will change, how the booster shots will be needed, all these additional things. This is a total, you see, another way they do more hit pieces. Moderna also could have another messenger mRNA vaccine on the way. In a not-too-distant future, the company plans to advance its experimental vaccine, mRNA, late-stage testing this year. It's approved. Moderna thinks this vaccine could generate peak sales of between $2 billion and $5 billion. What is that one for? CMV. Okay. In my view, that case could be made for Moderna's market cap to go higher. And considering the potential of its pipeline, candidates and its growing cash stockpile. It's got to grow. It's got plenty of cash on hand. I wouldn't blink at a $70 billion valuation for the company. Again, though, there are way too many uncertainties to determine what Moderna is really worth with a high degree of confidence. Well, they're wrong, and I think that you award companies for the difference they make in our lives currently. I said that earlier. And when this is a company that's consequential to the lives of Americans, that make things better, then you go with it. And there's a lot more to it, but I'm just over explaining. I want to read the rest of this. Is Moderna a similar case? There are some common denominators like the stocks that I skipped over in the past month. Moderna has potentially game-changing technology. Bingo! Moderna has differentiated itself in the mRNA market as its pioneers in other areas have done. On the other hand, Moderna has multiple competitors that could be equally successful in mRNA development, and Moderna is empowered. Moderna has a long road to success with its pipeline candidates because of its time required. Oh, and by the way, the whole time you've had Elon Musk taking from his investors to invest, right? Whereas Moderna is considered a growth stock, but it hasn't been taking from the stock. So let's just keep it real. Moderna's actually got hope. Bank of America Meekum thinks Moderna is worth roughly $100 billion less than its current market cap. He could be right. The big question for long-term investors, however, is whether if you hold this stock long enough, you can still obtain a stock market beating return. Yeah, you can. No. Volatility, yeah, but it's not going down to 150 or 110. What'd they say, 110? That's ridiculous. Here it goes. This is the reason for everything. 10 stocks we like better than Moderna. These are the guys who paid to be there. So first comes the hit piece. Now here comes the alternative. You know what? Let them take that somewhere else, man. They always have reasons for everything. And you just have to keep it honest. So, Medicines Healthcare Agency. So, the Medicines and Healthcare Products Regulatory Agency issued a conditional approval for Moderna's vaccine, now called Spikevax, based on clinical trials that showed the drug to be safe. Is this like old? Nope, it's new. Okay. And effective in kids 12 years of age and older. The news comes as COVID-19 case counts are rising, an alarming clip. And that's the other thing. We've got the Delta virus going on. The Delta variant. Health officials hope the vaccine will help reduce the spread of the disease when students return to school in the coming weeks. Additionally, U.S. health regulators are reportedly planning to authorize booster shots for most Americans. The move would allow people to receive 2 doses of Moderna's or Pfizer's corona vaccine to receive a 3rd dose, thereby boosting their ability to fend off the virus. The Biden administration could make the announcement as soon as this week, according to the New York Times. A 3rd round of doses would likely also help to boost Moderna's sales and profit. Investors know this, and they responded to the news by bidding up the vaccine maker's stock price today. So that's good news. 10 stocks we like better than Moderna. Okay, so there's that again. And this is the same people. So on one day they're claiming one thing, on another day they're saying some other crazy stuff. So they're all over the place. This way here, they're right at least some of the time. This is interesting. Let's see. Pharmacists charged for Vax card sales. Moderna recipe fight drug waste report. I know there was like a cop who got in trouble. No, it was a fire. Maybe it was a fire captain. Okay, will Moderna's interest boost gene editing stocks? I think so. Alright. That can't be the major news for today. I don't buy that. Is that based on what's there? Let's get out of there. Just Google, and we just want to see the news. Yep. I'll tell you, man, these cryptocurrencies can really go the distance for people. I really wish I was thinking about it. I hope to God tomorrow really comes back on Moderna. I'll end it on that note. I really hope to God, because if it does, I'm going to take that, whatever I have, and probably pour it into some of these cryptos, because they're going to move, and they're going to make people, life-changing money, the kind that I need in order to get my gift to humanity up. And, it's not enough that I can just live for them. I have to also pay my way on the way in greed hell. And if I fail, I die on the street like a bum. And then I get to have other people say, "Look at that lazy bum. Get a job, lazy bum." Oh, man. It's okay. And it's just funny. Maybe I'll go learn to be a gamer and play video games. My goodness. This world has got its priorities screwed up. Those who are doing greed are making it so well right now. Maybe I should just go ahead and get my greed cap back on. I really don't want to do that. That would so suck. I don't think I can handle that. Here's Moderna short interest. Oh, that's not really recent, man. You're going to have to get more recent than that, Bubba, to get my attention. Oh, here. Will Moderna's interest boost gene? No, that's not it. Alright, why is it all still about Moderna? I was trying to let's go to all. Let's get rid of that. Let's just search nothing. It won't let you do that. How about just news? Okay, first on CNN, more than 50 senators urge Biden to quickly evacuate Afghanistan allies. A bipartisan group of 55 senators is urging President Joe Biden to quickly evacuate Afghan special immigrant visa applicants and their families and fully implement changes to the program signed into law in late July. The Taliban's rapid ascendancy across Afghanistan, man, that's sad, man, and takeover of Kabul should not cause us to break our promise to the Afghans who helped us operate over the past 20 years and are counting on us for assistance, the lawmakers, led by Democratic Senator Jeanne Shaheen and Republican Senator Joni Ernst, wrote in a letter obtained by CNN Thursday. Okay, American inaction would ensure they become refugees or prime targets for Taliban retribution, they wrote. fact-checking Biden's claims that Afghans didn't want to leave. Now that's interesting. Afghans didn't want to leave. Fact-checking, huh? I'd like to hear that. Fact-checking Biden's claims that Afghans didn't want to leave. The Biden administration has been working to mitigate the fallout from the situation in Afghanistan after the Taliban's surprisingly swift takeover of the country, as scenes of Afghans desperate to leave went viral. President Joe Biden announced Monday that the U.S. military will provide assistance to evacuate more Afghans eligible for special immigration visas and their families to the United States, although Biden and his administration have been criticized for not taking this action sooner. He sought to deflect the blame. I know there are concerns about why we did not begin evacuating Afghan civilians sooner, Biden said. Part of the answer is some of the Afghans did not want to leave earlier, still hopeful and for their country. And part of it is because the Afghan government and its supporters discouraged us from organizing a mass exodus to avoid triggering, as they said, a crisis of confidence. Facts first. This needs context. While there may be some Afghans who received visas but didn't want to leave, there are certainly thousands more who have requested one but were unable to come to the U.S. sooner due to other factors, including financial barriers, limited flight availabilities, and processing delays. According to experts, Biden's characterization in particular ignores delays in processing applications for the Special Immigrants Visa Program, which the United States could have addressed sooner. Becca Heller, so he wasn't telling the truth. Executive Director of the International Refugee Assistance Project, which represents special refugees, said in his press call Wednesday that Biden administration is blaming our own allies for their failures. Yeah, it's not right. With their explanation for the evacuation timeline, the reason many Afghans who are eligible for SIVs were not already here when the government has fell has more to do with massive delays in SIV processing. There's a lot to this. The evacuations will continue. Let's see. Let's read some of this last part here. We're urgently working on efforts to assist eligible Afghans under the Afghan Special Immigration Visa Program and priority, the referrals to the U.S. Refugee Administration's Program and Humanitarian Parole. State Department spokesman Ned Price said today. The administration has relocated nearly 2,000 Afghan special immigrants to the United States, Price said Tuesday. That's it. They're supposed to bring all 78,000 of them, plus our own people and whatever else. And that's the cost of getting out of there. That's the true cost. I'm not sure it was the right choice. The evacuation will continue until August 31st, by which time the United States plans to have withdrawn its troops. That's the way we're doing things, huh? Real estate agent who asked Trump for pardon pleads guilty in Capitol riot. Wow. Let's see here. Real estate agent who asked Trump for a pardon pleads guilty in Capitol riot. A Texas real estate agent who went viral asking former President Donald Trump to pardon her for storming the Capitol, pleaded guilty Thursday to a misdemeanor for her role in the riot. Jenna Ryan, 51, pleaded guilty to illegally demonstrating inside the Capitol building on January 6th. She agreed to pay $500 in restitution for damage done to the Capitol during the riot. Prosecutors have cut the same deal for another low-level defendants who weren't violent or destructive inside the building. Wow, they're really making people who just were there pay such a steep price. I mean, I don't think that's the answer to fixing this problem. More force, more fear. It's not my kind of world. I'm for the more love, more trust world, more freedoms, not that kind of world. You can't have both. So think wisely which one you want. Folks, time now is 5 p.m. I gave you your American Mantic show. God bless you. We'll see you next time. Tomorrow night, 7 p.m. We're coming back earlier. What do you know? God bless you.